Hey YouTube, this is Lucky Man Survival here, and today we're going to be talking about our favorite subject, guns. But before that, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today, which is going to be rifle calibers for SHTF. Now in my hand here, I have 4 of the most common firearm calibers that are known in the United States, which is 5.56, 308, 30-06, and 300 Winchester Magnum. Now each of these have their own caliber strengths and weaknesses, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. Now I just do want to do a little quick disclaimer. If you guys hear popping in the distance, we are at a live range today, but don't worry, when we're shooting, we're going to be wearing safety glasses and hearing protection. That way, no one on the internet sitting there complaining about us shooting guns and not being safe. All right, so let's begin. All right guys, so the first one we're going to be talking about today is the 5.56. Now this is the most common cartridge that you're going to see in things like AR-15s, some small framed hunting calibers such as the Ruger American that we have behind here that we will be shooting today. And one thing that I like about this cartridge is this is going to be one of the most common cartridges that you're going to find in an SHTF situation. This is one of the most sold and most purchased ammunition types in the United States to date. Most of your common caliber AR-15s are chambered in this or 223, but the beauty of 223 is if it's chambered in 5.56, it can shoot 223. Now the effective range of one of these bad boys here is right around the 400 to 500 yard range, given the size of the rifle that you're going to be using. If you're using a short barrel rifle, most likely you're going to be losing a little bit of that velocity, a little bit of that distance. But if you're using a long range and a long barreled rifle, you're going to be able to reach out a little bit closer to 500-600 yards. This can go out to about 700, but the effective range of it is about 500 yards. Alrighty, so now let's go switch over to 308. Alrighty guys, so this in my hand is a 308 Winchester. Alright, this is one of the most common calibered hunting rifles in the United States to date. This is commonly used in our military as well, but this caliber, the reason why it's so unique is because it has an effective range between 5 to 1,000 yards, and this is one of the most common calibers you'll see in most hunting rifles. That when it comes to purchasing, this is going to be the thing that you're going to find a lot of when it comes to high-powered rifles. This can take anything from deer to just about anything in North America. Alrighty, and now there are some downsizes to this. There are some calibers that are made nowadays, like the 6.5 Creedmoor, that are superior rounds to these, but when it comes to price, you can't beat it. Alright guys, next one that I have in my hand is the 30-06. Now if any of you guys have ever done deer hunting, you know that this is going to be the cartridge that you're probably going to use. This can take any game in North America, anything from a small deer all the way up to an elk or a moose. This caliber is one of the most powerful, although it is a little bit expensive, but this is another one of those calibers you're going to find in the United States that have no problem being sought after. Alrighty, now we actually do have a little fun thing for you today. We're going to be shooting this out of an M1 Garand, which is the rifle we chose to bring for this test. And as you can see, it is much more significant than the 5.56, and the effective range of one of these is between 5 and 1,000 yards as well, but with a lot more stopping power. Alrighty guys, and then we're going to move on to the next one, which is going to be the 300 Winchester Magnum. Alrighty guys, the next one I have in my hand is the Big Kahuna, the 300 Winchester Magnum. Now this bad boy has a velocity between 500 and 1,500 yards. This thing has probably the farthest kill radius than all the other ones combined, and this is a massive round. Now I'm just going to grab the 5.56 to show a quick comparison of sizes between the two. You have the 5.56 on the left and the 300 Winchester Magnum on the right, and that is a big difference. Now this is a lot less felt recoil. This one on the other hand might send you whining at the end of the day if you go shooting too much with this, but when it comes to stopping power, nothing compares to this unless you're shooting a 50 BMG or a 338 Lapua, something that's much less sought after. But these ones are a very common caliber in the United States, and although they are very expensive, these are definitely worth their weight in gold. All right, guys, so today we're going to be shooting my Ruger American chambered in 5.56. This is just going to show you guys the recoil on the rifle. It's going to show you the distance and the effective range of each. And one of my favorite things about this rifle is this is a magazine fed rifle, so you can actually take an AR-15 magazine and load it into this and actually have a 30 round bolt action rifle. All right, guys, so we're going to take shots at a 200-yard target, a 300-yard target, and a 400-yard target. Hopefully we'll get some shots. If not, I'll just embarrass myself a little bit, which is fine. But we're going to be basically showing you guys the effective range of each and showing you the kind of kick and recoil you get, and give you guys a little bit of an example of what you can do with these rifles. Let's try not to shoot the plane while we're at it. All right, guys. That's a hit. That's another hit. That's another hit. Ooh, looks like someone's been practicing today. All right, so next, guys, we're going to be taking shots at the 300-yard range. Oh, got that one too. It's like I've been practicing. That was a miss. And I knocked down my box of ammo. So, as you can see, guys, this rifle is definitely effective up to 400 yards. That last shot I took, it was a miss, but I did shoot at the 400. We're shooting at about 12-inch targets from these distances, which perfect size for a torso. So obviously you can get very effective hits with this rifle at that range. And the good thing is this is probably the cheapest rifle on our list today. This one comes in at about an MSRP of about $450 to $500. And you know, it's a wonderful rifle. It's one of my favorite rifles that I use personally. But as I said before, when it comes to some of the other rifles we're going to be shooting today, this has got nothing in comparison to those ranges that those ones have. Now, when it comes to an SHTF situation, this isn't really something I would use too much for hunting, except for maybe small to medium game, maybe coyotes or rabbits or something like that. But this would be more of a rifle that I would use as a defensive caliber against the two-legged variety, especially because I can have an AR-15 chambered in the same thing. I can make long-range shots with this one and an accuracy not being an issue, and I can have my AR-15 at the ready. All right, guys, so we're going to move on to the next one up, which is going to be the 308. All right, guys, so the next one we're going to be shooting is the 308 Winchester out of the Bergara 308. This is a beautiful rifle, but this was one that you're going to start getting into that heavy price range. Now, this one does cost a little bit more than the 300 Winchester Magnum that we're going to be shooting today, but this is also a rifle that you would use for competition or for really getting that long distance out and making sure it's accurate. Now, again, like I said, this one's chambered in 308, and this one does kick a little bit more than the 5.56, but it is still manageable. And we're just going to take some shots at the 200, 300, and then I'm going to push out the last round at the 700-yard mark. All right, guys, so let's get started. I just want you guys to know, I hit that, but this thing is so powerful, it went right through my target. Because I saw the dust on the other side. Alrighty, so let's take a shot at the 300 now. Let's see what we got going on. We got a hit on that one. Let's go 500. We got a hit on the 500 as well. Let's get this last shot. Let's try and range shot to that 700 real quick. See what we got. All right, well, like I said, I'm gonna try. We got pretty close though, so someone with a little bit more practice and a little bit more training should be able to get a 700-yard hit, no problem with this rifle. All right, guys, so next we're gonna move on to one of my favorite calibers, chambered in one of my favorite guns, the M1 Garand. All right, guys, so the next one we're going to be shooting is the 30-06 out of one of the most infamous rifles in history, the M1 Garand. This one is the Springfield M1 Garand, and this one is just absolute beauty. This one was an actual service rifle of the U.S. military. We do have a stamp for this one that was actually in use, and we're going to be shooting this one, and unlike my heterosexual life partner, Parker, I'm actually going to do this and not hurt my thumb like he always does. Alrighty, so with this one, it is iron sights, so I'm gonna do my best to get these range shots, but I'd be lucky if I hit the 300 with iron sights, but we're gonna try for you guys, all right? That one was a miss. I actually got a hit on that one. All right, let's go to 300 and see if we can't make a fool of ourselves. A little low on that one. And that one was a hit. And just for giggles, let's go ahead and try the 400 yard. That one don't want to go nowhere. Let's try one more time. Oh, isn't that just a beautiful sound? Alrighty, guys. Now, with this one, if you were to get a rifle chambered in 30-06 and it was a bolt action rifle or something that was really meant for hunting and range, you could absolutely get out really, really far with these rifles. Of course, this is an iron-sighted M1 Garand, so, you know, for me, it's just a bit of luck when I hit something. But for a lot of people, if they have a 30-06 rifle, they could easily sit out there and touch 700 yards all day long with the properly sighted in rifle. All right, guys, so next one we're gonna move on to is my personal favorite on the list, the Mossberg Patriot chambered in 300 Winchester Magnum. We'll see you guys in a second. All right, guys, so next what we're going to be talking about is the Mossberg Patriot chambered in 300 Winchester Magnum. This is the big kahuna. This rifle right here, out of all the other ones we spoke about today, this one will reach out the farthest. So we're going to start out, I love when people mag dumb, don't you? So we're going to start off with the 300 first. Because of the distance that it has, this scope is sighted in for 300 yards. So we're gonna start off at 300 and we're gonna work our way down, and I'm gonna see if I can't make a shot at that 1,000 yard. Now with that distance, you guys aren't gonna be able to hear a ting off of the steel that we have. It's not the best steel, so it's not gonna make a very loud ting. But I do have Parker behind the camera with a spotter scope. He'll be able to let me know if I get that hit or not. Alrighty, so let's get to it. Man, that thing's got some kick. That one was a miss, I can tell. But let's go ahead and try that one again. That was a hit. Okay, guys, we're gonna go over to the 500 yard now. Let's see what we can do. Alrighty, that one was just a little off, so let's try one more time with the 500. Alrighty, Alrighty.
More?
You know what? Yeah, you're right. Let's put one more in there just for good measure, and let's get that 700-yard shot. Because I'm feeling lucky today. Alrighty. Try and steady myself for this. And I think we got a hit, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty. So, as you can see, this one hits a hell of a lot more than the other ones, but when it comes to shot for shot, this one outranks and outpowers all the other aforementioned rifle rounds that we talked about today. This one is going to be for the biggest game that we have in North America. And if you felt like being a little bit of a boog boy today, this going up against anyone, man, they're gonna wish you hadn't. So when it comes down to the actual choice for an SHTF rifle, you want to pick a couple things. First is going to be the ease of use for you. If you're a small statured person and you think that this rifle is going to knock your shit in, which let me tell you, it probably will, because I'm a 280-pound guy, and trust me, I feel it. So if you're a small statured person and you don't feel like hurting yourself when you're shooting a rifle, might want to go for some of the smaller calibers. But if you feel that you can put a bipod on this and not really care about how your shoulder feels at the end of the day, I always think that when it comes to rifles, you want as much capability as possible. You already have a rifle that only is one shot at a time, so you have to make those shots count. So when it comes down to it, do you want to be able to touch someone out at 200 yards, 500 yards, 1,000 yards, and beyond? So there are options on the market that you can shoot well past 1,000 yards, this being one of them, but you also have to think about what you're willing to take when it comes to the hit. If you're a smaller person who wants to shoot something where you can be dead accurate and get follow-up shots pretty nicely and take on just about any normal size game in North America, you might want to go towards the 5.56. If you want to be able to take down deer and, you know, the bipedal types in the world, you know, something like the 30-06 or the 308 is going to...
Talking about turkey.
Yep, we're talking about turkey, you know, the alphabet turkeys. But when we're talking about something that's really going to get out there into range, you really want to think about, but when it comes to getting out there in distance, this is going to be probably one of your safer options, probably a little cheaper. There are a few calibers that are just similar to this one, but we were just pulling out a few rifles for you guys to show you that you have options not only in distance and power, but also in manageability. I mean, my son, who is only 6 years old, has picked up my Ruger American rifle and put holes in steel at 200 yards, no problem. So, you know, when you put that into consideration, you're really looking at the ease of use, the power, and the actual capability you want the rifle to have. And now, the final thought is, which one would I probably use? Now, for me, I do like capability, but I also know my capability. And I'm not a long shot marksman. I won't sit there and admit that I am or not. You know, I can comfortably make shots at 400 or 500 yards with most of the rifles here that we've shot today. So for me, I have to think about what my capability is, what my manageability is, and something that can do what I need it to do. So for me, if I was going to choose a rifle for SHTF, it would probably be either the 308 for the velocity and the distance that I can get on it, and the manageability, and the accessibility of ammunition. You can walk into any retail store, Walmart, sporting goods centers, anything like that, and you're going to find 308. But my next choice would probably be the 5.56. Now the reason why is because it is abundant, it is easy to shoot, it is cheap, and it is something that you can stock up a lot on but still get nice range with that rifle. Now the common person is probably not going to be able to make shots at 300, 400, 500 yards unless they're going to the range once a week and trying to get those distance shots. Not everyone wants to be a sniper, and not everyone can be one. So when it comes down to it, you have to think about what your capability is, what you plan on doing, and your price range as well. Are you going to drop $600 on a rifle? Are you going to drop $500? Are you going to drop $1,500? Because trust me when I say this, once you go down that rabbit hole, there is plenty for you to see. I mean, you can get a Tika rifle or a Christensen Arms for $2,200. The sky's the limit for rifles. But today we're not really talking about precision shooting at 1,000 yards and being able to be Mark Wahlberg in the movie Shooter. We're talking about an average person being able to sit down, take a rifle, and make shots at 200, 300, 400 yards that make them count, doesn't break the bank, and something that they can handle. All right, guys, so I hope we left you with a few things to think about today. Again, this is Lucky Man Survival, and remember, death is the rule, but survival is the exception. We'll see you guys next time. You guys have a good one.